computer. All right, welcome everyone to the My Health Matters webinar that I wanted to put together because at the end of the year, everybody's like, yeah, 2022 is going to be my year. We say it every year. So hopefully this year you stick to it. And I tell people, don't look at it just as a goal for the year. Look at it as a lifestyle change in general so that you can live longer and look young like the rest of us. So I put together a group of power players who are experts in health and wellness and fitness exercise, and they're going to share some of their tips with you. But we're going to make it an open discussion. So if you have questions, pop them in the chat box. We'll get to your questions towards the end, and we'll have time for you to interact with the experts. We're going to talk about prevention, detoxing, exercise, and more. They're also going to share their personal stories, myself included, on things we've done to improve our health. So get ready to take notes and learn a lot from these experts. So I'm going to tell you about the experts first. We have Dr. Gregory Jean-Pierre, who I call affectionately Dr. Greg. Say hi, Dr. Greg.
Hi, Dr. Greg. Wait. Hi. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, he was my chiropractor for many years when I lived in South Florida. And when I go back, I always make sure I get adjusted by him. For those who don't know about NUCA, he is a NUCA chiropractor. There's only 250 chiropractic offices worldwide, and he has the only one in Boca. Is it still the only one in Boca?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. And I might add, I don't know if this is possible to add, but he's also one of the few, I think there might be like a handful of African-American, well, you're Caribbean American actually, Asian American, that do NUCA. So that's a pretty big deal, I would say. Also, for those who don't know about NUCA, the adjustment is gentle. There's no popping, twisting, or cracking, which I love. And he gets excellent results with patients that have MS, Parkinson's, migraines, high blood pressure, sciatica, neck pain, back pain, and many more. So you can learn more about him. We'll put his link in the chat box, but it's Upper Cervical Institute of Florida, right? So that's Dr. Greg. Woo, everybody give me a hand.
Dr. Greg, I'm going to come to see you. I like that technique. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. No, it's to the point. I'll be funny with you guys. It's to the point that at first I was like, "Is this a scam?" Because you want to feel like somebody cracking you. But when you see the X-rays and you feel the difference, like the blood rushing in your body, it's like he only did like it just feels like he's doing like a little tap, a little thing here, you know. Mm-hmm. But he adjusted me because I was all lopsided. I have stories.
Yeah, you did.
He's my hero. I love him, and he's so much fun. So he's hilarious. Then we have Shondell Solomon, who I've known for it's been at least. You think it's been 20 years? Yeah, it's probably 20 years.
Close to,
yeah. Since you're 2 years old, Simone, because you both look like what, 21, 22.
24.
Yeah. So funny enough, I have to mute people because I didn't realize I didn't mute them. Okay. So funny enough. Hold on, I'm gonna remove your camera for a minute. I don't know who that is, but I think I know who that is. All right, everybody's name is not on their login. So Shondell, I've known for many years, and before I knew what CrossFit was, she was doing CrossFit. And before it was actually a name, I think. Is that what you were doing before back in the day? We didn't really call it CrossFit. It was just like interval training, or what did we call it?
It was called Synergize, and but I was doing circuit training, like functional circuit training. Yeah. So it was similar, but not quite as intense as
right.
CrossFit.
But what I do remember about it is that it felt like one-on-one training, even though it might have been a small group of people. Similar to like when I go to CrossFit, I feel like I'm getting personal training, even though it's not like 30 people in the class. So I feel like people are paying attention. So basically her company, she's the founder of Synergize Fitness. Synergize Fitness, which is formerly known as CrossFit 954, is a boutique family-oriented training community that targets men and women who are focused and committed to their physical transformation and improved well-being. And I have worked with Shondell, and she's a lot of fun, and she definitely gets results. And if you look on her website, you'll see the before and after pictures that are amazing. So yeah. So thanks for being here, Shondell. Do you have another title though? Aside from founder?
Happy to be here.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Say it again.
I said, do you have another title you call?
What did you say?
I just said founder of Synergize Fitness, and you're also a fitness trainer, but I know you might have something else fancier.
No. I mean, I'd say I'm a fitness entrepreneur and coach. I mean, I used to operate under the transformologist for a while, but that never really, I wasn't consistent using it, so it never really stuck.
Okay.
But
you have a degree in, tell us the degree, because I know it was like from Columbia. And
my master's is in sports medicine. Yeah, I did my undergrad at Columbia and then my master's at sports medicine. Thought I wanted to work with that. And I had a quick internship and realized that I did not want to do that, at least not in the realm of injury and stuff.
Gotcha.
Strength, I enjoy.
Degree in too, sports medicine, athletic training.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I did that.
I got the experts. Y'all see what I'm talking about? And then thank you for being here also, because I know you're on the road right now. The last person I want to introduce is Coach Reese Carter. Do you go by Ken Reese or Reese? You prefer Reese?
It's a funny story. I go by both. People in the corporate world know me as Ken Reese, and for my own business, most people know me as Reese. But anyone that resonates with you, that's quite fine.
Okay, I think I'll call you Reese. Coach Reese. She's a certified nutrition specialist, practitioner, certified health and lifestyle coach, and is also a proud ambassador of the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which I know a lot of people that are certified in that school is awesome. Ken Reese is trained in over 100 dietary theories. Wow. Chronic diseases, and medical nutrition therapy. She uses herbs and medical grade supplements. Her wellness foundation is built on personalized eating plans supported by integrative practices. And, you know, me personally, I just love to hear her talk because she has an amazing Jamaican accent. So it makes me feel at home. So welcome, Reese. Thanks for being here. We have a few new people on the call. I just want to say hello to them real quick, and then we're going to get started. Tanja, thanks for being here. And you could I'm not going to do video until the end. Tanja, Abby.
If I may add a little bit there, I just want to throw in the fact that I do work in human resources as the director of people at a pharmaceutical company, a clean medicine company called Genexa.
Okay.
So it's always important to just mention the duality that I play in terms of impacting lives, not just in terms of health and wellness from the nutrition space. And I also want to add, a lot of times when people hear coach, because the word has been watered down, I just want to say that I am actually medically trained. I went to Maryland University of Integrative Health, where I completed my master's in nutrition. And I always like to say that just to start with a caveat, because when we start to get into the depth of things, you know, both Chandel and that will back me up there, when people like to know that there's science behind what you're saying. So exactly. I just want to throw that out there.
So, you know, my friends, you know, the people I hang out with, you know how they say, you know, I'm about to pop my collar, you know. You know, small fries. And I like how you mentioned that about the coaches, because there's so many coaches, they have these programs now, become a coach in a week. Watch this YouTube video, you become a life coach. It's like
absolutely true. And I've been doing this for over 20 years, you know, before the word coach was watered down. Yeah. So it's very important to me to just kind of reiterate it. You know, when I was doing the whole IN circuit, standing on the stages, it was completely different. A lot of people now call themselves things because of social media, with no credentials. And I'm a very big believer, 3 graduate degrees later, very big believer in training, learning, and development. You know, if you're going to impact people, you need to ensure that you are in fact trained, right? And here we are, some learned people here. So it's an honor to sit beside you guys tonight to talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yes, awesome. And then I should just add a little bit about me, since everybody on here might not know me. In case, you know, I can't assume everybody knows me. So I'm Coach Simone Kelly. For those who don't know, I'm an author, I'm a coach, I'm an intuitive as well. And speaking of training, I'm also certified to train people to become certified in Reiki, and also intuitive. So that's one of my biggest specialties. I call myself a superhero trainer, because I make jokes about how after you're certified with me, you become a superhero. You know, we all have these amazing talents that we need to tap into. So that's my gift, and I love sharing it with the world. We also have coaching programs like Own Your Power, for business as well, to help you start your business or help you develop your business. A lot of people I deal with are reinventing themselves. So they might be in a corporate job and have a side hustle, but they're trying to turn that into a full-time job. So that's definitely one of my specialties. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And then I also have a network called Own Your Power Network, where these classes that we're doing are for the network. So once you become a member, we promote you, we promote your business, we have you on podcasts, we have you on our social media, and thousands of people will reach you. So I'll be sharing the link so you can join as well. We have memberships as low as $29 a year. Can't beat that. So definitely look into the Own Your Power Network. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get started with today's seminar, webinar, whatever we're calling it these days. And the first thing I want to ask you all, because I think everybody that becomes a coach in some way, shape, or form has done something to transform their own life and they want to share it with others, right? That usually is what happens. So just out of curiosity, let's start with you, Coach Reese. What made you want to get into this career? And was there anything that you actually dealt with personally that helped you make any transformation in your health?
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me start by saying that my parents, so I grew up with parents who were always into natural things. Until I started traveling to America at age 8, I had no idea about processed foods, right? Only when I visited my older siblings who had already moved out of the house. So I grew up in that environment. So I just want to put that caveat because, you know, like most people who have this powerful story, mine is just, I was literally brought up eating off my dad's farm, drinking coconut water. Every day my father would force us to eat bananas and say, there's potassium. Until I went to nutrition school, I found out that, hey, potassium is in lots more things than bananas, okay? So, but the thing though that was pivotal for me, I want to say in 2010, I had my aha moment. I'd been working for a telecoms firm. I started out in product development and, you know, I was traveling all across the Caribbean, you know, Spanish speaking, French speaking Caribbean. And one of the things I noticed is that a lot of my colleagues, they would come in and in short order, they would gain tremendous amount of weight, right? And I couldn't wrap my head around why are people looking like that? I had one moment where one of my colleagues actually had some kind of facial paralysis and others just a lot of different health issues. And I remember thinking to myself, this is not who I want to be. You know, how can I now impact people? And that just kind of sent me on a journey. I discovered, or IIN discovered me one way or another. I came across IIN and that just shifted for me. I quit my corporate job in 2010 and decided that I was gonna actually, you know, do my own campaigning. Fortunately for me, the company that I was working for at the time, they actually rehired me to come in and do learning and development training, which evolved into some of my nutrition stuff. So that's kind of how I got started in the whole health and wellness space.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Shondell, and you've always been in shape as long as I've known you, so I don't know what just to help people because you're the fittest mom I've ever met. So tell us, you're muted, Shondell?
Yes.
Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, perfect.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't have that story of, you know, I used to be 300 pounds and now I'm not. And I was very, and I had issues about that I did not have that like grand before and after story for a long time. But yeah, I've kind of have always been an athlete. I started working in the gym as my work study job at Columbia. And that's how I got into just working out. I had always played sports before, but I didn't really, you know, I was never in the gym. My dad was an avid gym goer, had a gym in our house. And even that I didn't really gravitate to until I got into college. And then I kind of did the traditional, you know, trainer scene in the global health clubs and quickly realized that that environment wasn't for me because I couldn't really, you know, it was all about just hitting quotas and signing people up for these programs that I didn't really believe in. So created my own thing. But my real transformation was my transition from what I was doing prior to discovering CrossFit. So I had been working out for a long time. I even had my gym. And then in 2009, I just felt like I wasn't really practicing what I preach. And I remember the moment of being, you know, taking my clients through a workout and being like, I don't think I could do what I just had them do. You know, I'm not really being, and it wasn't always that way, but I had just had a baby and I had started the business. So I just lost focus on that. You know, I was kind of not really, and my body is such that I can kind of get away with looking more fit than I sometimes am. And that was a time in my life where I wasn't as fit as I looked. So that's how I don't even remember how I heard about CrossFit, but I heard about it and I was like, I got to do this. And I showed up. I was their third member. You know, I owned a gym, but went to another gym and that went into CrossFit.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I realized, like, what have I been doing all these years? Like, everybody asked me to do, I couldn't do any of it. Like, I couldn't do one pull-up. I couldn't run half a mile. I couldn't do any of the functional stuff, which is kind of, you know, what I believe in now. Like, it has to apply to what you do in real life. And everything I had been doing prior was just, you know, typical bodybuilder style training, you know, on machines, nothing that really translate to how we move in real life. Right. So that was my turning point, as far as, you know, my career. But as far as my, you know, my personal transformation, yeah, I never like lost 50 pounds or anything like that. But I think transformation, you know, it's not just with body, it applies to all aspects of our lives. And I definitely have transformed in other areas, and I apply those same principles to what I do now.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, Reese didn't have no transformation. Like she I don't think she was ever big, but she always wants to help people. But nice segue, drum roll please, to my Dr. Greg, who he was never fat either. But we had this ongoing joke because he was like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing this thing. I'm show you, I'm gonna have a 6-pack. And then he was like, watch, I'm gonna be coming into the office with no shirt on or tank top. I was like, Dr. Greg, shut up. Like he was like, you'll see. Guess what? Dr. Greg got a 6-pack now. Don't show us now, though, Dr. Greg. So tell us about your transformation related to what got you started, because you weren't fat, but I know you wanted to like tighten.
For me, being in the health realm, I always felt like, you know, you don't want to go to a fat trainer. Like, that's just the bottom line. If you go, you know, somebody's telling you what to do and you look at them, it's like, you know, I always wanted to be congruent. So being in the health industry and telling my patients, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, I felt like I would be able to come from a more powerful point if myself, I was looking the way, you know, that I wanted them to look. I didn't want everybody else to have a 6-pack, but I wanted everybody to partake in some kind of exercise every single day. And, you know, people usually say, yeah, I work out 2-3 times a week for X amount. I was like, no, that's not enough. You need to work out every single day for at least 30 minutes, you know, just to get your hearts up. And then everything else is key. But coming out of the pandemic, I mean, I was an athlete in high school. I ran track and played volleyball and did all that stuff. But once high school ended, I just stopped doing all that stuff. And just like Chandel, I kind of coasted around where I still look fit, even though I wasn't. You know, I don't know if it was the shirts I wear or anything like that. Underneath all that, you know, you couldn't tell, but I wasn't fit. But after the pandemic, where we all sat down and quarantined, and I had a cocktail every night, which I don't even drink, but for whatever reason, every night I was having a cocktail. And when the kids' school started, I looked around like, this is ridiculous. How can I possibly look at a patient in the eye and tell them, hey, you need to work out. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do, you know, health is not just the adjustment. Health is everything that you do. You need to eat properly. You need to exercise. You need to get proper sleep, proper hydration. How can I possibly do that when I'm not doing it myself? So that day I woke up, took the kids to school, and I started CrossFit. And I used to do CrossFit before, and that I was in the best shape of my life doing CrossFit. So I found the next gym and I started CrossFit that day. But, you know, I started getting better. But for me, the transformation really happened when I started doing the program called 75 Hard. You know, and for me, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. And whenever somebody tells me something and I say, I can't do this or I won't do this, immediately the light bulb comes on. It's like, well, then I must. So you never hear me say, oh, I can't do that. Because the moment I say that, then I have to. So when my patient told me about 75 Hard, I got to work out twice a day, drink a gallon of water, I'm like, there's no way. That sounds stupid. Why would I ever? I can't do that. I mean, I run a business. I have kids. I can't do it. You know, and that night, it kind of beat me inside. It's like, I said I can't. It's like, oh my God, I got to do something about this. So I listened to the podcast, and the podcast, I mean, if you've ever heard it, it's on point. One of the things that he talks about, it's like a lot of time we have all these excuses. The reason why we can't do this and we can't do that is just, I don't know if I can say that, but he said it's just your bitch voice talking. You know, what? He said it again, it's your bitch voice talking. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So that next day I said, you know what, I'm on and I'm going to do it. And I committed to doing 75 Hard. And I can tell you, anybody that's ever done that, if you do it right, you will get a six-pack by the end of it, because it requires discipline, and the discipline that only translates in your body, but it's everything that you do throughout. And I did last year, got the best shape of my life. I started competing, and I just did it this year. So it's something I'm going to do every year, right around the end of the year. But the funny thing is, and I don't know if you've seen my social media, this year I failed. I got to day 65 and I failed.
No.
You know? However, it taught me the biggest lesson ever, because you learn more through failure than you do to success. Had I succeed, I would have check mark and I'm done. But because of the failure, I started doing things that, you know, just like to kind of make up for it. I ran 14 miles, and I just woke up that day. I'm like, you know what? Mindset, I'm going to run a half marathon. Never done it before. And I did it because I wanted to punish myself for that failure. Never done it before. I didn't think it was possible.
Wow.
And I've been doing PRs in the gym because I've been using that failure as a fuel to kind of get me going to the next level. So again, if I don't get money from 75 Hard, but I've gotten such great results with it. And I've had friends that have done it with me on the first time and right now, and the results are phenomenal. But it doesn't teach you just about your body, it teaches you about discipline that I've actually applied in my office, in my business, at home, and it translates throughout. It's the small things that get you the biggest result.
Right.
Sounds like he's throwing out a challenge now, because now I'm excited. I'm like, what? A fitness regimen that I haven't tried?
Great segue for what I'm getting ready to say. So what happened with me, I've been going, people always think I'm a nut because I go to the gym so much, but I've always been going to the gym. I never had a problem with the gym. I was never afraid of the gym. My issue was I like my hot chocolate every night. The sugar. I know.
I
already know the cocoa. I need my cocoa. So I was like, I would like maybe lose 5 pounds, 3 pounds, 2 pounds, like, you know, this, but it would never like be a significant amount that made me go, yeah, I did something. And then one of my girlfriends told me about, and I'll talk more about it towards the end, but one of my girlfriends, shout out to Tanja, she's on the call, told me about this product called Total Life Changes. And she told me about I've heard about it prior to her. Like many people told me about it, because everybody looks at me, they see I have a network. So they're like, hey, can you sell this for me? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to sell nothing. I'm good. Like, please stop, you know. But I said, let me try it. She gave me a sample, and every day for 4 days straight, I took it. And I could not believe I've lost a pound every day in the toilet. So it just goes to show how much we're walking around with so much waste, you know what I mean? So that alone helped me really jumpstart my fitness journey, I should say, because even though it was, you know, on my own, I did join a challenge, and then I had other people join with me. And the challenge, that's one thing I noticed the similarity between everybody. You have the gym, you have your 75 hard group, but having an affinity group, having people that are doing the same thing with you that encourage each other makes a big difference. And me having to post it, because a part of the challenge was you had to post your workouts in your group, or at least show that you did something. So me doing that made me say, okay, I got to show some kind of improvement. So it helped me a lot. So me personally, I'm a big believer in detoxing for sure. So let's talk about what are the biggest challenges your clients face. I mean, I think it'll be different from everybody, just to share, so everybody on the call watching or watching the webinar kind of sees that they're not alone. Give us like maybe top 2 issues that your clients face.
Well, I'm going to jump in and say the top one is consistency. A lot of times what people don't. You too, Shonda?
Yeah, I'm piggybacking on that. That's my
piggyback girl. Let high five over there. Consistency. You know, Simone, not to take away from Total Life Changes. I don't really endorse any one product, because, you know, of course, I sit in a clinical setting, so most of what I use is medical grade supplements. But I do believe anything that has high nutrients, guys, will impact you. And of course, it's a very good product from what I hear from other persons as well. But the thing that most people don't know is this: whether you don't take a product or not, if you do these basic things, I'm not going to get into it, because once you start talking detox, you're talking my language, right? Because what lots of people don't understand is that there are literally detoxification pathways in the body, in the liver, right? And there's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and there are nutrients that run each phases. I won't get into all of the details. I do have posts on my social media that you can read, tons of stuff that I've put out there, right? However, the one thing I want to say is this: consistency. So if you are getting up and even just getting 20 minutes of sweat action every day, right? But you're doing that consistently, And then, you know, I'm going to defer to Shondell on the muscles and she can talk about all of that. But your body is going to respond, right? What happens is most people, they get the exercise, but they eat terrible. They eat well, but they don't get the exercise, which frankly, 80% is really the eating, because that's why a lot of people fail in the gym, because they're doing great workouts, but they're not fueling their bodies right.
Yeah.
Then if they're fueling their bodies right, they're not getting adequate sleep, and they're not getting enough rest. And I defer to Dr. Jean-Pierre. Je parle français couramment, so I had to say it like that. Right, I defer to you, Dr. Greg, you know, on talking about, like, you know, making sure that your body's in alignment and all of those stuff. But it really is consistency. There are several modalities there. And let me tell you guys, I've studied so many things over the years. I cringe every time this time of year comes around and people are looking for the quick fixes.
In 1 month. Yeah.
1 month. I'm going to shut up because I want to hear from my colleagues. But guys, consistency. And I just want to say, Dr. Greg, I too had a failure this year for the first time in my life. I'm a very tiny woman, but I did gain 10 pounds. That is unheard of. And the only thing that I could attribute it to is the stress that I was undergoing in building out this new company that I'm working for. And 2022, I told myself, right now I have my whiteboard. I can't show you what I have on it, but I'll tell you this. I've already written a plan for myself around being more consistent. It's consistency. Jump in, Shondell. I want to hear what you have to say about the body.
That would be my number one as well, consistency. And she touched on that, you know, for in the fitness world, it's just, and I think not just the fitness world in general, I think we just live in a quick fix society. People want results right away, right? And they don't realize that, you know, I always ask my clients, like, if they're trying to lose 30 pounds, 50 pounds, like, how long did it take you to gain that weight? No one ever says a month, 30 days.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah.
For most people, it takes years to gain 30 pounds to 50 pounds. So, you know, why would you think that you're going to lose it in 30 to 60 days?
Right.
And programmed to, like, oh, I'm working out now. I've been working out consistently. I'm sweating hard. And they think it's just going to happen. So impatience is definitely a challenge for a lot of people, not being, as you mentioned earlier, like in it for a lifestyle change. So just changing the mindset from one of quick fix to, you know, changing your habits, which is the key to transforming everything. So that is a big one, on top of also consistency. And you also mentioned the eating part. That's huge, because I do have my hard folks who come to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, but their bodies look the same as they've always looked. They're more fit. They can do more things, but aesthetically they look the same. And that's because they're not fueling their bodies correctly. You know, they have, and I, you know, I educate some on that, but it's like that. I'm not there with them. You know what I mean? I tell them, you're with me at minimum 3 hours a week. I see you face to face 3 hours a week. There's 168 hours in a week. So you got 165 hours that you're not with me, that you have to be accountable to yourself. And there's only so much that I can, you know, I try to hold them accountable, but there's only so much I can do when I'm not right there up close and, you know, in their faces, like, don't eat that, that, you know, whatever. So that's a huge challenge.
It's funny that you say consistency, because I remember going to the gym and seeing, not the gym I'm at now, but when I used to go to, like, UFit or whatever, see the same people every time working out. And I'm like, they look exactly the same, but they would be doing the same thing: treadmill, Stairmaster. There's no weights, there's nothing. And I used to be afraid of weights, which we'll talk about. I'm assuming.
One exercise, Simone, I'm so sorry, I have to jump in. You said something, Shondell, that hit me, because that's my thing, right? I always tell people that, like, you know, the same amount of time it takes you to put it on, it's going to take twice the amount to lose it. That's one. And two, when you talk about the body needs different types of exercises. And again, I don't want to go in your lane too much, Shondell, but I see it all the time. So, you know what I mean? Like, I get so passionate because, you know, my husband, he used to be in the military. He just came out, and, you know, people see us like, oh my God, you guys are so fit, but we run, we cycle, we swim. Right now, I just bought myself a rower in my garage. I have a trainer that comes. You got to do different things. If you want change, you got to do different things. So you can't do the same things all the time and expect different results. That's just madness, you know? I'm sorry, guys. I get very passionate about it.
I mean, but granted, I'll tell people the detox I did, a lot of people are, like, afraid to do it or scared. They think they have to work out like me. They're like, oh my God, I ain't doing all that crazy workout. I'm like, no, I like CrossFit. I'm a high energy person. But I know some girls that just lift weight, I mean, little light weights, and then some of them just walk or jog or something and maybe do yoga, and they still get
results. It's not transferable though, Simone, because you have to think about the fact that heart health, which is cardiovascular, is going to be different from strength training that's going to strengthen muscles. And I'm sure Dr. Greg will talk to us about that. And as you're aging, right, I see a lot of women, I specialize in hormone health, and I see a lot of women struggle because they're not doing a mixture of different exercises. One is to protect the heart, one is to protect the bones, one is to give you flexibility, like Chandel said. They're not doing that functional training that translates back to what you do on a consistent basis every day. Dr. Greg, I'm going to shut up because I want to hear what you have to say.
No, but I do want to add something. I'm wondering, Chandel, maybe Chandel, Dr. Greg can answer this. I went away to Puerto Rico and I ate everything that I wanted to. I didn't stop. I came home and lost 4 pounds. And I was like in shock. I was like, how the hell? And then somebody said, oh, maybe your metabolism sped up. And I thought that was over. That's not going to happen. I'm 48. But is it possible you can speed your metabolism up?
Absolutely.
40s? Okay, yeah, because I was like, I was eating ice cream. I was every place.
I hear often people when they go away, when they go on vacation, they lose weight. And oftentimes it's also very full of stress though, right? Because stress is a huge cause of weight gain. And when you're on vacation, we tend to relax. You know what I mean? So, and then also, depending on where you're going, there's a lot of places you go and your food quality, your food is going to be a lot better than what we're getting here in the United States. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variables, but.
All right, Dr. Greg, jump in. I know you want to, we were talking about
sure. No,
and if you want to.
I was just listening. So here's the thing. I agree with both of you when you say consistency, because last year, that was my thing. Consistency, being in the gym, eating properly, doing all that stuff. But I must say that as of this year, that is not my number one anymore. My number one, rather than consistency, is mindset. I think having the proper mindset is the key to being consistent and doing everything else. Being in the health and talking to my patients, one of the things I realize is that once they understand the why they're doing it, then it's easier to kind of be consistent and be able to continue and not quit. Because a lot of time people want to lose weight, but you know, what's the reason? What's the bigger reason that you want to do that? You know, you want to lose 20 pounds to go to a wedding, but what happened once a wedding comes and you lose that 20 pounds?
Right,
you stop.
Right.
You know, it's like you want to do this, you have all these goals, those temporary goals, but once you get the mindset right, then it becomes a lifestyle. And that's kind of what I've been doing myself. It's one of the key phrases, if your mind can conceive it, your body will achieve it. So that's my biggest thing that I've done with my patient this year, is just really spend a lot of time educating them on what health truly is. Because again, if you're doing it just to lose weight, just to look good, what happened when you look good? You know, then you stop and then you look bad again, and then then it becomes a yo-yo. But once you get the proper mindset that it's not about looking good, it's not about, you know, it's about being healthy, and then what comes with that is the consistency. What comes with that is the eating properly. What comes with that is everything else, because you have the mindset. So what I've been on myself, a great book that I would recommend, I don't know if anybody read it, it's Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins. This guy is incredible. And it's all about mindset and pushing yourself to what you think is impossible. And I think if you look at my social media, what I've had for 2022 is a bunch of crazy goals. I mean, unattainable goals that I think that I can't do. But a lot of time, the reason why a lot of us don't do things is because, first of all, we don't set enough goals, or we don't set big enough goals. You know, I want to get 10 patients. Why not 100? You know, so this year.
I can't show you my board, Dr. Greg. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The number I have on my board, I'm just like, let me angle my camera so that.
If your goals. Yeah. I'm sorry. They say if nobody's laughing at your goal, then it's not big enough. So
yeah, if your goals don't scare you, then you know, it's like, you know, I've already committed to a number of things that it's like, so this day I have no idea how I'm going to do them. But that's the point. If it doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. And, you know, my goal is to fail as much as I can, because it is through failure that I learn. But in order to fail, I have to set the goal so high that if I achieve it, it's like, wow. You know, so and it's all about changing your mindset. And that, I think that for me, that's been my biggest transformation this year. And the reason why I've been able to be a little bit more successful is because my mindset is completely different. It's no longer about competing with anybody. It's about finding my best, being able to, once I get there, to push it to a point where I didn't even think I could go and do it. You know, that's the only reason why I would wake up at 4 a.m. and decide, you know what, today I'm going to run a half marathon. And I did it because I didn't think it was possible. And I did it. So yeah.
I was your biggest cheerleader, because when you posted that 6-pack picture, I was like, he got a 6-pack.
It's more like an 8-pack now.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's a Greg.
Okay, Doc, just keep your shirt on in the office. He was like, I'm gonna be walking around with my shirt. Well,
Oh my God, it's hot in here.
So
Wait a minute, I thought this was a health talk. I did not know it was like a club or something going on.
Well, it's all about motivation, right?
But I want to touch on what you said about mindset. And, you know, when I said consistency, in the back of my mind, for some reason, I knew somebody would say that. And I completely agree. It's one of those things, you said the chicken or the egg, right? Because it could be a consistent mindset as a coach. And that's one of the reasons why I kept the coach, because there were times when I was like, you know, I've gone on, I've done this, you know, after becoming a coach, you know, but coaching is so important, right? Coaching is not about telling, but kind of guiding that person into habits. I mean, obviously as a trainer, Shonda, you can relate to that, because a lot of what you do is really coaching somebody into getting to that space. And what I found over the years is that, and I've proven it with this last client that I just signed up. When I tell you she was having the amount of health issues, it was, at first I was like, oh my God, I can't do this because there's so many things, right? But what I realized is that a lot of times why people fail is because they're trying to do too many things at once, right?
Right.
Even in your business, it's talk about segmentation, and we could get into marketing. It all comes back down to the same thing. Taking bite sizes. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So taking bite sizes and saying, okay, I have all these things that I need to accomplish. What's my low hanging fruit? What can I accomplish quickly? And what will take a longer time? And, you know, a lot of times when we go to some of these nutritionists and dietitians in particular, not to knock them, but it's the truth, they don't have that coaching background, right? And people always say, what makes you so different, Reese? I say, what makes me different is because I now take what you have, I know the science, I know the clinical stuff, but I also know how to get people to change habits, right? Because it's really about habits. Because if you're used to
100%.
If you're used to doing something over and over for a long period of time, it's gonna be very hard to break that habit, right? And there's a lot of things that you need, and you're really gonna need somebody who understands those concepts to guide you along the way. You know, not everybody have the tenacity that Dr. Greg has, or the resilience, which I love, right? So some people are gonna need that little extra coaching along the way, and sometimes you're gonna fail. And believe me, I'm glad that you mentioned your failure, guys, because I too felt like I failed this year. I mean, I was not as ripped as I normally am. And I said, you know what, this gives me an opportunity to show people that I know how to get back there, right? So sometimes you also need that as well.
Well, good segue. I wanted to ask, going back to the exercising, what is your view? Everybody could just share, you know, a couple points on what's your view on weight training versus cardio? And can you work out too much? You know, I know, like Dr. Greg said, work out every day. Like I work out pretty much 7 days a week, but now it's not like CrossFit every day. I might walk one day, I might do yoga, you know, I'm not killing myself too much. But what's your take on the whole weight training? And me personally, I'm a believer in strength training now, because I notice when I lift weights, I'm sweating way more. And I'm like, I'm starting to see I got a 4-pack, y'all. What? So I'm seeing the results. So share with us, Shonda. I know you got the.
I mean, I absolutely. Well, one, can you work out too much? Absolutely. You can do anything too much of anything, right? It's good for nothing. So, and there is something called overtraining. It doesn't happen in the average population. That's something that's more, I think, common with like athletes, or, you know, people who are just like the exercise version of anorexia. You know, you just want to like eat something, you want to go burn it off real quick. So overtraining is not a problem for most, but of course it's possible. I know I was doing CrossFit like 5-6 days a week, and now I'm only doing it 3 days a week. And I've added the Peloton to that because I've realized that if I want, you know, a lot of it was just getting, my joints were taking a toll on my joints, and I knew I had to kind of bring it down a notch, but I didn't want to stop. As Reese, right? Reese.
Yes, Reese. That's fine. Reese, yeah.
Yeah, as you know, you gotta change things up, and it's important to me to sweat every day. So I even got a sauna. Some days I don't work out at all, but I just go sit in the sauna for 20 minutes. I gotta sweat. Like my rule, my daily rule, like every day I gotta find a way to sweat. So I just want
to point out that is the #1 thing when you're detoxing. It's on my page, right? So I share it with you guys. So I love that you said.
Can't read that. Just tell us what it says.
It says sweating daily, 20 minutes of vigorous cardio. So any kind of sweating or some kind of sauna.
Right. Gotta sweat. And then of course, cardio and weight training. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest things that I have to teach many women in particular is the importance of strength training and weight training and how, I mean, all the benefits to that. I mean, one of the biggest ones being, as you mentioned earlier, elevating your metabolism, right? Muscle is metabolic. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. That's just a fact. So if you want to not have to eat less as you age, you want to maintain your muscle. One of the main reasons a lot of women gain weight, besides all the hormonal stuff that I'm sure Reese can speak on, is that as we lose muscle as we age, and if you lose muscle, you're going to slow your metabolism down. So strength training is hugely, hugely important. I mean, as you know, in CrossFit, we don't really differentiate our workouts. We don't isolate cardio from strength training. Right. You know, and I tell my clients, look, your body doesn't know if you are, you know, doing 100 jumping jacks or if you are doing, you know, 100 front squats or 100 thrusters, which is also strength training. It knows that your heart rate is elevated, right? As long as you maintain your heart rate elevated for a period of time, that's cardiovascular training. So and that's how we move in real life, right? We combine everything. We move our body, we challenge our muscles, but at the same time, you know, you're trying to catch a flight and you're carrying stuff and you got the baby in the stroke. You got to be able to run to the gate and carry a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So it's all about how does this translate into my real life. So strength training is hugely important. And if you're not doing that, you're missing out on a significant part of not only results, but just not aesthetics results, but also just your health and in general well-being. But I have noticed that adding Peloton, so now I Peloton, I'm like a Peloton junkie, like as I was CrossFit when I first started. And, you know, as Reese said earlier, you know, you have to do different things because I thought I was pretty fit and I am fit. But when I got on the Peloton the first week, I was dying on that thing. Like, onto the rails, like, what is happening here? You know? But I realized I don't cycle. I don't train this way. You know, even in CrossFit, even though it's intense, there's still a lot of start and stop. It's not that sustained, continuous movement, which I wasn't used to doing in a very long time. So cross training and doing different things and finding what you enjoy. Ideally what you enjoy, but if you don't enjoy anything, because I do meet people who just don't like to move at all. What do you enjoy? What do you enjoy of all the things? What do you not mind the most? You know, you find the most pleasurable thing and do that the majority of time, but you still gotta change it up. Right.
I mean, I used to hate burpees. I still don't like them, but I can do them now. So I think the more you exercise, the more you can do.
I like everything. How do you have to like everything? You don't. It's a means to an end, right? You do it because where you're trying to go.
Can you share on that? Can you share on the endorphins or what happens to you after you work out? Like the energy,
that's exactly where I was just gonna go because like in the mornings when I get into my office and I walk through the door and I'm the HR lady, right? So everybody knows when I've had a really awesome workout. I'm like, good morning, everybody. And, you know, I'm a speaker as well. So that energy is just amplified. And I'm naturally a very energetic person, right? I just don't, when people say they don't like to move, I was smiling when Shonda said that because it's just a weird concept to me because all my life I've been moving. Like I've been cycling since I was a little girl. My dad bought me a 10-speed, if you guys know that downhill racing bike. He still has it like in mint condition at our house on display, right? So like, by the way, Chanel, get a real bike as well and start doing that road bike. I promise you that nothing on Peloton like when you're going down riding. I used to ride when I was in Germany.
Any hills in Florida? Like it's all flat
Yeah,
roads.
Flat.
Yeah, I know.
All you're doing is flat roads. Getting run over by cars. That's all I think about on the road. Like,
well, we have a
but
trail here in Atlanta, so if you ever want to come by, let me know and I'll hook you up. We can go riding on the trails.
Oh, I would love to Atlanta often, actually.
I'm gonna get a bike so I can hang out with you and do that because I want to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys. Like I ride like 20 miles a day, not anymore, unfortunately. But I used to like when I was in Germany, it was more like 40. But when I came here came back to the States, because then I had a real life again, I had to like cut it down to 20. But for me, the best exercise ever there is cycling. There's just something about it that just liberates your mind when you're getting older and the knees don't take the running anymore. And Chanel, I can relate to the knees thing because I used to run the mountains in Jamaica, right, in my early 20s, and I thought, ooh. And I remember somebody saying to me, hey, watch it, when you get older. And I was like, because when you're young, you're dumb, right? You're really, there's no wise young person.
Right.
I'm not that old, by the way, but I'm just saying in my head anyway, I'm 21. But yeah, on a real note, I just tell people that mixing it up, and to answer your question, Simone, about the strength training, to piggyback on what you said, it's so important. What happens with a lot of women from the hormonal side of things, there's no regulation with the hormones. Once you start losing those muscles, the estrogen starts to drop, progesterone starts to go haywire. Mm-hmm. You find that cortisol at nights is all over the place. And I tell people that when you start to strength train, it helps to regulate the hormones. That's one of the biggest things that I work with my clients on. I say, hey, get your trainer. Sometimes I even write a plan for them and say, take this to your trainer, make sure you're doing these things, right? Because if you're not doing both, and then the cardiovascular, like you said, Shonda, you were doing all kind of other stuff, right? You're clearly, anybody can see you and see visibly you look fit, but you were challenged on that cycling because it's a different tempo, it's a different cadence, right? And it's so important to challenge that heart rate. And that is why you see a lot of bodybuilders die so young. You ever wondered why? Because they are strong, but their heart is not properly conditioned. Okay, I'm not gonna get too much into that.
Yeah, we gotta move on because we only got 10 minutes left, and I want to open the floor for the questions. But thank you for sharing that. I wanted to talk lastly about detoxing, the importance of it. I tell a lot of people I've never talked so much about pooping until I started doing Reiki. Because when people on my table, almost everybody's constipated. They tell me, they haven't pooped, they only poop twice a week. And I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? So, and then if anybody knows about Reiki, it's a hands-on healing technique. When I work on people and their chakras are blocked, if that's chakra, which is the solar plexus, is blocked, 9 times out of 10, they're constipated. After they get off my table, when they go home, they call me, tell me how they had a great poop. I'm like, you're welcome. To loosen things up. So with that said, anybody have any feedback or related to, I know Reese, you do for sure. Related to detoxing. I don't know, Shonda, if you believe in, I forget if you detox.
100%. It's actually one of guys I have 5 components, 5 facets, and that's one of them. Okay. I believe in it. Just to answer your question.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Greg?
We talked about that when I did the seminar.
That was, us talking. They need to hear your take on it, especially as a chiropractor, because I know you probably seen some things as well, like as far as like things.
Of course, I mean it's funny because I'm just recently, 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to a young lady, and she has all kind of issues, migraine and all this stuff. But we got to a question where, as far as a bowel movement, she's like, "Oh yeah, I go normal." I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's normal?" Well, once or twice a week. And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "How many times do you eat a week?" It's like, "Well, I eat about 3-4 meals a day." It's like, and you go once or twice a week. She's like, "Yeah, that's pretty normal." I'm like, "How?" There's no way. So I'm trying to tell her that the migraine that you're having, all these things are connected to your digestive system, and the fact that you're not getting rid of everything. There's no elimination there. I can adjust you all day long, but until you get to the point where you're going regularly, if you're eating 4 times a day, I mean, ideally you should be going 4 times a day. You know, so it's yeah. So when it comes to detox and doing things, you know, I do believe that the body's able to do that. If there's an interference, it's not able to do that on its own. But it's all based on the type of crap that we eat, the reason why the body's not able to do it. So having a strong outside detox is going to be able to help you do that. But if we were to eat properly, we should be able to do that. You know, and I told you my story when I started doing my thing. I used to, you know, for me as a guy doing colonic was like, there's no way I'm doing that. But the more I learned about it, I started doing it because, again, some of the things that were coming out, it was incredible. You know, and people, you know, and I felt great. So I mean, yeah, that too. So, but people don't think about that because your digestion is so key, especially again in the African American community. I think it's normal for them for us to be able to go to the bathroom once every other day, which is not normal at all. You know, so you should be going 2-3 times a day if you're eating that much. So yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people don't drink water, so please add that because that's a big thing.
Yeah, I was about to say that if you want to know if you need a detox,
I drink a gallon a day, right there, always with me.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you want to know if you need a detox, your skin will tell you, your breath will tell you. That's one of the biggest signs. Bloating will tell you that as well. Brain fog, you know, ability, you're not remembering stuff. You feel lethargic. Those are signs that you need a detox. And just be clear, I have a post that indicates the difference between a detox and a juice cleanse, because a lot of times people don't understand that a detoxification system is a much longer thing, and it must involve one, sweating, right? If you're not sweating, so you do need heat, right? A lot of times, if you do a detox and you don't have a sauna, you're not incorporating that, you're not going to detox properly. I can't get into all the science behind it, but that's just something for you to note. If you're doing a detox and you are thinking that you can just do it regular foods, it's not going to work, because you now need to amplify your nutrient content. Because again, remember we talked earlier about the different pathways, pathway 1, 2, and 3. Each of those pathways are run by nutrients, right? Zinc, your fat solubles, which is your A, your D, your E, your C's, all of those different things, right? And a bunch of other herbs and all of that. If you're detoxing and you're not having bitters in your diet, you're also not detoxing properly, because the bitters is what purifies the blood, right? We can get into all the science. That's a whole other conversation for another day. So
we only have a few more minutes left, so I do want to open the call. If anybody has any questions,
there are several questions in the chat.
There was a question here.
You can wait. I don't see it in the chat. Hold on.
If you open your chat box, you'll see all the questions.
Yeah, there's a question here that Abani and asked that I wanted to kind of address quickly.
Oh, here they wait. Here they go. Sorry, I don't know why it's so small. Okay. Which one did you want to answer?
No, she was asking the difference between mindset and motivation. I mean, for me, it's a huge difference, because motivation is more emotional. How many times do you go to a seminar and you get all motivated and everything's great, but you do nothing about it? Motivation is just emotional. So motivation is great to kind of get the mind going, but the mindset is what actually allow you to take action. Because again, for me, motivation is I don't want to say crap,
comes and goes,
but it's temporary. You can get excited about something, but if you don't take action, it's, you know, what quote that I used to say that, you know, when they used to say, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, which is no longer true. We perish because we don't apply said knowledge, because we have knowledge everywhere. We can get motivated anywhere. You can go on YouTube and be motivated. But it's the mindset that's going to allow you to take that motivation into action. And the action is what actually gets you the results that you need.
Wonderful. I love that.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Abby, I want to make sure you heard, you can hear you. Okay, great. I want to answer this other question. This has come up for a few people that I know. What role does depression play when one wants to get a better body? Anybody want to share that? Because I think that's, because me, sometimes I'm like, just exercise. And everybody's like, but what about, I'm depressed. I don't want to exercise. So what
it depends on the type of depression, because some depression can be seasonal. It really depends, right? So is it clinical? How bad is it? Is it just your mood that is affected? If it's super clinical, then definitely see someone. I always refer people out if I think that they're on that verge. But if it's more like a mood related thing, I would say definitely increasing your nutrients. And one of them, guys, is vitamin D, as in dog, right? Which is technically not a vitamin, it's a hormone. If you're finding that your mood is being affected, check your vitamin D levels, especially people of color. I guarantee you most of us here are deficient, and is below the 50 NGL, which is very, very important, right? So you want to make sure that you're at least above 50. And you're gonna see a difference in that. Magnesium also plays a role. I sometimes supplement with that when I have people with mood disorders, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're so awesome." I'm like, no, it's really the nutrients. It's not me. I just know what to do. I'm getting some sun, right? So of course, if in a colder climate, it's gonna be difficult. So there are lots of things you can do for that.
Okay. Yeah, and to add to that, because I hear this all the time, I didn't feel like it. I mean, feelings are not really is not a requirement to move your body. And oftentimes when you move your body, you feel better. You know, just because this is what I do, like I just want to hang out and work out in the gym all day long, and I'm like super excited to work out. Like most of the time, like everyone else, I'm like, gotta go do this now, you know. But one, it's become a habit, so I just do it. But my feet are completely detached. It's like waking up, and I mean, you don't not go to work because you don't feel like it most of the time, right? You don't not feed your kids because you don't feel like it, or do all the things in your life that you got to do because it's just what you have to do. And you get to a point where you have to have that same perspective on taking care of your body and your health, and part of that is moving it. So if you're waiting to like be excited and want to do it, then you're going to oftentimes always be waiting. So you just got to get moving. I'm telling you, break that first bead of sweat and you start moving and breathing a little heavier, then those endorphins kick in and you want to keep moving. The hardest part is showing up. That's what I tell my clients. You show up, and you know, that's more than half the battle. And I'm sure you guys agree with that, you know, on the days you don't want to do it, but you make yourself do it, and you're like, so you never regret the ones that you did, right? Yeah, you never regret the one you did. You only regret the ones you don't do.
Usually after the gym, I'll be like, thanks for the torture, like to my coaches. But I really enjoyed it. You know, I have a good time. And it's like, for me, it's community, especially during COVID. When I moved to Atlanta, it was a ghost town. I literally moved like February 2020. So the gym was like my party. You know what I mean? So Dr. Greg, you got something to add?
Well, no, I mean, just like Reese said, depression, and there are clinical depression. There are things that, you know, you need to see a professional about. But again, like Chanel said, a lot of time it has to transform and become a must. When exercise and working out and moving become a must, just like she said, you have to go to work. You have to, like for me, I exercise every day, twice a day. I don't want to do it, but now it's just become something that it's a must. If I don't do it, my day's ruined. It's like, so I do it. I don't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. There's plenty of time I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, not again. But I do it because I know the feeling afterwards is just like, I can't buy that anywhere, you know? So it has to come to a point where it's written down and it's a must. And then eventually it's going to become not easy, but it's going to become a habit that, you know, you can't shake. And when you don't do it, you're mad at yourself because, man, why didn't I work out today? You know, and you have to get that point. But the other thing is, just like you said, is finding a community, having a support group, some people that can actually support you and help you that's going through it. Because for me, having my support group and my people that my 5 a.m. crew that we call each other, like if I don't show up, they call me, you know, and if they don't show up, I call, hey, what's going on? And, you know, we kind of teach each other, but it becomes such a community that even when I don't want to show up, I show up because I know they're counting on me to be there to motivate each other. So having a peer group, having people there with you, like-minded individual that's going to push you and keep you accountable is key to kind of get over that hump to become successful.
Well, we're on the last leg of this talk, and I wanted to see if you guys can maybe come up with 3 tips that we can give to people that are trying to work on, that are going to get healthy, that are going to get healthy for 2022. And keep in mind, some people on this call have not worked out in a long time. So they might not, not gonna just gung-ho join the gym tomorrow. So what are some maybe three tips you can offer? And somebody did ask about knowing your caloric intake. I know Shondell is expert on that. Maybe you can weave that into the answer. I don't know. But are there any tips you can give people so they can have a little game plan to walk away with?
I think for me, my first thing I would say, you have to write it down. You have to schedule it. I mean, the very first thing, it's not say, oh, I'm going to work out. Oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. You have to be specific. It's like, okay, on every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, I'm going to go to this gym and do this. Once you write it down, it becomes real and it forces your nervous system to actually take action. And it has to be specific. You got to write your goals down, because if you don't, they don't exist. That's the number one thing I could say. Have the goal, have it consistent, have it written down, be able to see it, and kind of have somebody hold you accountable. I post my stuff on social media, not to impress anybody, but for you guys to hold me accountable, because the moment I say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and social media is like, wait, you said you were going to do it. And so it's just for myself to be held accountable, because if I say I'm going to run a marathon and I don't do it, I know people, especially Simone, what happened? You gotta have
six-pack, Doc.
That's why coaches are important. Coaches are there, sometimes just to keep you accountable for things that you said you were going to do. So write it down, make it specific, and then follow through and find supports that's going to help you.
You said like 3 things. You took all our answers.
She said 3 things.
Can I add? Well, can I just add the write it down part? But that it might answer the caloric deficit question somebody had. I like loseit.com. A lot of people like myfitnessplan.com, but writing it down for sure. Writing down what you eat. Because every little thing you eat, people go, oh, I have to measure calories, but that's why I like those apps, because it measures everything for you. And 9 times out of 10, we eat the same stuff over and over again. So once you type it in once, it remembers what you eat. But those things shock me. It's like, I'm like, I ate that today, or like, it makes me now pay attention. Like, oh man, I ate an extra snack, or I had too much of something. But what I love about it is it takes off the calories, it gives you a count of how much calories you have for the day. And then if you work out, I'm like, oh, I lost 650 calories from working out today. It's like a little video game for me. So I would recommend you get one of those apps, loseit.com or myfitnesspal.com, if you have something else you want to recommend. But that helped me tremendously, monitoring what I eat.
Well, I'm going to add to Dr. Greg's thing by saying, hire somebody, guys. And this is not a shameless no, seriously, listen, frankly, I barely have space because, like I said, I run a company with the CEO. So I literally take a handful of people every year. So it's not about me, but find somebody that resonates with you, that you trust, and even do one plan. Because sometimes if you've been trying it on your own for a long time and you're not getting it, let me tell you, I have a personal trainer and I've been working out for years, but I have a trainer. You know why? Because I don't want to push myself. I want somebody to push me for a change, right? So hire somebody. If your problem is the eating, get somebody who's strong on that. If it's the exercise, get someone. Or good old YouTube, right? Because maybe you can't afford to do it, go onto YouTube. There are several exercises that you can type in, 20-minute HIIT workouts to get you started, right? Where you don't have to embarrass yourself in the gym if you're self-conscious, and over time it will come together. I would say hire somebody. That's
I absolutely agree.
Accountability.
Hire somebody. I absolutely agree. Because again, if you think about all the best at anybody that's the best at anything, they have a coach. Michael Jordan was the best basketball player in the world, but he had a coach. The coach are there to keep you accountable. So absolutely hire somebody. And YouTube is great, but when you spend the money, that motivates you to kind of keep going. And that's why I tell people, I did this entire program where I paid for it and I gave it free to my friends, and none of them actually did it because they didn't have any skin in the game. So hire somebody, hire a coach, absolutely, because again, that keeps you accountable, because you're spending money, you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do.
Shonda?
Yeah. Nothing that would be mine as well. Like, I owned a gym and I still paid to go to another gym for, not anymore, but I did when I first started CrossFit. Because of that, I needed to have someone kick my butt, right? Even now, even though I'm working out in my gym, I don't work out by myself. I'm not working out. I choose a class and I work out with them. Like, the accountability is so critical, because it's easy. It's so easy not to do it. And if you don't have someone kind of there to make sure that you do what you say you're going to do, chances are you're not going to do it. And, as far as the actual, the skills of everything, right? If you think about, like, I don't know, if your roof collapsed, you're not going to like go to Home Depot and try to figure out how to put your roof together, you're going to call a roofer, if you got a plumbing issue, you're going to call a plumber. But for some reason, when it comes to like transformation and losing weight and all health and fitness, like, people just feel like, oh, I'll figure it out on my own. I'll eat salads, go, work out a couple of days. Like there really is a science to it. And you do have to know what you're doing. And you don't.
Shondell, hold on, girl. There's a science to it. Please say that again. Everybody's a nutrition expert. Everybody's a fitness expert. And it drives me insane because the truth is there's a science. There's some of us who went to school and trained for years to understand the science. And believe me, when they realize there's a science, when the diabetes steps in, when the chronic illnesses step in, that's when they realize it's a science. When they get the injuries, they realize, oh, oops, it's a science. So absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't happen by accident. So, I mean, to what everyone said, like you gotta get help, and it doesn't have to be forever, but if you're just off, then you definitely need a coach, someone to guide you and get you on the right track. And then, once you create those new habits and you get some momentum going, then you may need a coach, less help. But I mean, it's important. It's critical. I think that's step number one for almost everyone.
Well, I need to come down and go water with you one of these days.
Yeah, please do. I would love it.
Yeah, you're right. You need to come go visit each other. You need to all know each other. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this call too was not just to talk about weight loss, but also prevention, because what I find is a lot of people I know, the second they get diabetes or they get something else, all of a sudden they want to hurry up and fix it. But it's like, we can prevent a lot of these things. We can reverse a lot of illnesses if we just take care of ourselves and be consistent. Like we said, that's the number one thing. And as far as accountability, I have an accountability group as well. So if anybody wants to join, I'll be sending an email link so that you can learn more about it. We're doing a 15-day challenge as well, so we can detox, get fit together, and hopefully I'll email you everybody's information so that you can take them up on the offer and maybe hire Coach Reese as a coach for nutrition. Maybe you can help Florida come down and
I interview my clients, let me tell you.
Sabrina, make sure they're coachable, right? Don't waste your time.
Oh yes. My time, honestly, is very precious. And I spend it with people who really want to make a change in their lives.
Exactly.
Right.
If you need chiropractic work, Dr. Greg is awesome. He's amazing. So definitely reach out to him. I will put everybody's website in the email that I'm gonna send to you all. Any last questions before we go? You can unmute yourself or put your camera on, say hi. Everybody's shy today. I'm surprised.
Somebody asked about the caloric intake. Just to answer them really quickly. Okay. Yes, you should know your caloric intake. I don't want you to think about it as counting calories. I want you to think about it as how much fuel does my body need if I did nothing at all, right? That's your basal metabolic rate. You need to know that number. That number is very key. And that is a number that you must not exceed if you're not having any movement in your day, right? So when people talk about counting calories, it's not necessarily a bad concept. It's if it's used in the incorrect way. We don't want you to say, oh, I can eat whatever and count the calories, because the content of the calories is what counts.
Right. Yeah. Just like Oreos are vegan. People think, oh, I'm a vegan. Like that's true. I learned the hard way. Yeah. And I know this, the last thing I will say is that is why it's important to have a coach. I learned from one of my nutritional coaches is that I wasn't eating enough.
Yes.
And I was like, I thought I ate a lot, but like, especially when you start working out heavily.
That's a common issue.
You need to eat, but healthy, not junk. Like eat healthy, more protein, that kind of thing. But you all shared some amazing tips. Thank you so much for your time. And do you have any last words you want to share? A website you want to share with everybody real quick?
Well, IG, everybody can check me out on IG at Coach Reese, CoachRese. Lots of fun information there. It took a lot of energy to put it together. So, feel free to go and read some of the lovely stuff I have on there.
Yeah, I definitely connect with you beyond this. I have some I'd like to know a lot more about what you do.
I am definitely going to connect with you as well. I was like, your voice is so powerful.
I love.
I'll get you to adjust me when I'm in Florida, so I'll definitely come check you out when I'm there.
Yeah. Awesome. And I got to come get an adjustment. My back is all jacked up, so I'm going to have to reach out. I'm going through it with my back.
Yeah. You need to send your people to him. He does. He'll come and talk to your group. He'll come and speak to your group.
Oh yeah, I do a lot of lectures, and it's and that's one of the things I love to do. Is all about education. So if you have a group, and I don't charge for it, I just show up and talk, and that's it. And
that'd be awesome. We'll definitely connect on that. That would be awesome.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. I'll be sending you an email with everybody's links, and good luck with your setting your goals for 2022, and hopefully you can start today. All right, take care, everybody. Remember,
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.